Ian.
Dave.
Cody.
Dave.
So Ian, Cody, Ian, we have our good buddy Cody Wagner on the show tonight. It's been a long time coming. Cody, say hello to everyone.
Hey everyone in the Apex adjacent audience. The last time us three were together was back when Apex Adjacent was called the Team Clear Code podcast, and they had a karting session at Unser. Was it just on the other side of 25 here in the States, here in Colorado? Sorry. So, and that was like 2019. So it's been a while, and thankfully a lot has happened since then. So there's actually a lot to talk about now.
Exactly right. We've been so busy, like just licking, Alfa Romeo Giulia shifter paddles, like all kinds of stuff like that. But yeah, so we initially met you through the Rocky Mountain Automotive Press. Maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that.
I think back in 2018.
Yeah, like at the Denver Auto Show, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so we connected over that kind of stuff. And Cody, you do a bunch of stuff. One thing that is instantly visible is your fantastic shirt. Yes. Boom. So this is a V10 Dodge Viper block shirt in a pattern, right?
Yep.
You call it the Cargyle shirt. That's fantastic branding. Yeah. Tell us about the shirt, how that came to be.
Yeah. So something really funny I really wanted to point out initially was that you called it a Dodge Viper engine block shirt, and you're absolutely right. But because of licensing and all that stuff, you can't call it that on Teespring. Right. So I think I just call it V10 engine block shirt, but somewhere in the description, it's like, it's a Dodge Viper V10 thing.
Right. It's a Schmod Schmiper engine block.
Yeah. It's a Podge diaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's see. I don't even remember where I came up with the idea. Because it was like 2019. I had an image of a Viper V10 engine block that I was just trying to trace and figure out. I was like, well, how do I do that? And then
right.
I kind of dropped that for a while because I couldn't figure out how to do it. Then I came back this year after not doing like any renderings or such for like 2 years. And then I whipped it up in about a night and a half. It didn't take that long because thankfully you can just make a bunch of circles because it's just the cylinder ports and whatnot. And so I was like, oh, dang. Well, that's kind of sick. And what's funny about the merch is that originally I had merch on Amazon, and I do still have some. It's crap, but Amazon had their own merch thing like Teespring, where you can upload stuff and they have shirts, but it was way more limited than Teespring. But at the time, it was somewhat just Cody's Car Conundrum branded stuff and then a few other shirts, but I wasn't really committed to the idea. But then come 2021, I think, I don't know what happened, but something just clicked. I was like, oh, I can actually make a line of shirts. I can actually make like a fashion line, like a whole, what's the show Mom and Erica are watching a lot now? So, I can't remember the name of it, but where they make their own clothes and whatnot. I was like,
like you're going to Project Runway this thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Do my own Project Runway, just have a bunch of shirts, but fix a problem because when I was a kid, when I was, let's say 10, my biggest
problem.
So this
is like 2017 we're talking?
Maybe 2015, a while ago. Because I'm 19 now. No, that might be 2011. Yeah, a long time ago. But my problem with a lot of the kids' automotive apparel, you feel old, don't you?
You just killed Ian, and I'm older than Ian, but that's fine. I embrace it. I've got Werthers coming out the wazoo, Cody. It's fine. But yeah,
just embrace the dad energy.
yeah, that's fine. I'm here for it. Yeah, Ian, it still murders him to say if you tell him in his late 30s, it takes 5 hit points off of him. It's fine. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that because I just got like a jumper for Christmas that my dad got me, and it totally ages me up a little bit, like a broad college student type of thing. And I've also got a sweater that's white, blue, and whatever, and just totally old. But getting back to the children's merch, my problem with kids' automotive shirts was that it was just kind of boring. It was kind of none of the designs were all that interesting. They were very plain, few and far between. And then you had licensed shirts, but they're expensive because they're licensed shirts. And so in 2021, after beginning to make the line of shirts, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can solve my own problem, because you can actually make kids shirts on Teespring, which is excellent.
Right.
So I can solve my own problem, make cool shirts, make cool automotive shirts that kids can wear. Because if you're like me, when you're 10, you're small, like small in stature. And so most of the shirts for you are probably going to are suitable for maybe 7-year-olds as a 10-year-old.
Gotcha. Yeah, like a Thomas the Tank shirt, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're flexing really this like 5th grade, and they're like, dude.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very below par. And thankfully Teespring has a bunch of sizes, but I'm like, well, okay, I could fix that. Make my own line of shirts, do this type of thing. Although I don't think they have an all-over print for kids' shirts, which is unfortunate. But I've got a bunch of other ideas. But yeah, I was like, well, I can fix that. And so, yeah, and what I want to do with the Cargyle, because it's specifically in this pattern where it's diagonal, I want to make a V8 one, a V12 one, a V6, just all the different engines.
Yeah.
Because people like different stuff. The only engine type that's going to suck, I think, is straight 6s and straight 4s. Because how do you find a top-down engine block image?
Right.
Like that.
Right. Yeah. So, you kind of cut off a bunch of interesting bits, but I dig it. Like, and it's this awesome color purple. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because most of my shirts are blue.
Okay.
75% of my shirts are blue. So Mom was like, okay, could you get something that's not blue just to show off there's more colors? Because we had to do, or I had to do my own ad photo shoots.
Yeah.
For stuff to get it out there. So it's like, yeah, I can't all be blue. Because they're like, is it only in blue? Is that it? Right. So purple, and I like purple, so I was like,
that's purple looks awesome. Not enough people wear purple. Yeah, here's your page with the
There's
I like Cargyle. It's a cool. It's good branding.
Right.
Yeah, it really is. I saw it and I'm like, that looks like an Argyle pattern to me. Something like the diamonds.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the photo, or all the photos are from that ad session though a while ago, just out in the backyard.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It worked out pretty good. The editing wasn't too bad either.
So let's back up. Cody's car conundrum. What is Cody's car conundrum?
So Cody's car conundrum has a turbulent beginning.
Right.
Because originally it was simply a means to an end, where it was just not that anything I was doing at the time was going to get me to this point, but it was just to get me to the point of being CEO of Dodge, because that had been my dream since I was 6.
Okay.
And so for a long time, it was really just a means to an end just to get there. So I hadn't pushed it that hard, hadn't gone as hard with it as I could have. But after going to the Denver Auto Show with RMAP as a media member, then going to Rambler Ranch before Mecum, and then Mecum after that, I started fantasizing a completely different life where I'm just going to automotive events and doing videos, taking photos, doing all that kind of thing. And at some point, what was it? I think it was 2019. At some point in 2019, I realized, oh, wait a minute. I have this completely separate life. So there's the working at FCA life, and then there's this completely different one that I had started dreaming about more and more and more. And so then it got to the point where I just had to be real with myself. I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? I want to go to events. I want to do a bunch of stuff in the automotive world, basically.
Sure.
How am I going to, is it easy to do that in a 9-to-5 or whatever job at FCA? No, it's not, especially if you're not at a higher position where you can take a lot of vacation days off and whatnot. And so then I was like, okay, well, if I do things correctly, I can make CCC that, where I go around covering events and basically just having fun. I've basically boiled CCC down like this. Did you ever watch a show called Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So CCC is basically that, except none of it's disgusting. At least none of it's disgusting yet. So it's basically just me doing whatever takes my fancy in the automotive world. That's pretty much it. And as of like November of last year, I finally created a slogan for CCC, actually, and it's just doing everything in car culture.
Okay.
Perfectly encapsulates my entire mentality.
Right.
So from the gaming to the merge to the Viper Days reunion to all that sort of stuff, it's just me doing as much as I possibly can.
Gotcha. Okay.
Can be a bad idea.
No,
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
No, it's good to like cast a wide net, especially. I mean, you're young and you don't know where you're going to end up. So yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Also, I do appreciate your course correction on like wanting to work for FCA and like kind of focusing on other things, because it's not like FCA has ever had any kind of turbulence or changes or lack of job security or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Daimler.
yeah, right. But so okay, so shoot, I had something and I lost it.
Oh God,
Damn
I've been doing
it.
that so much lately. It's atrocious.
Okay, here we go. I got it back. Okay. So one thing that Ian and I have talked about on the show is kind of like when we were young, the things that happened that kind of like triggered our car puberty. Right? Like for me, it was like seeing an AMC Eagle for the first time, because
Really?
I'm much older than you. Right. And so they were still on the streets quite a bit, right? In like 1981, right? And seeing that and just like being like, oh, like that's different. Like that's a thing. I don't know what's going on, but that's a thing. Like, do you have a similar kind of moment with cars that kind of like you realize they were a thing?
Yeah, more than you might realize, I had a similar "what is car" kind of moment, and it's funny because mine was also similarly humble beginnings. Because my dad has a 2016 VW Tiguan now, but the car he had that I remember when I was born was a 2000 Dodge Durango.
Okay,
and I remember having this memory of going into the garage one day, and I think I had asked him something like, "What is a Dodge?" Because it had the little metal emblem on the hood, almost like not a Porsche-esque, but had like a glossy cover on it and whatnot. And so that's what initially got me interested in cars. So very, very humble, like an AMC Eagle for sure. And then I think in the same year after, I was playing a browser game, like a little what was it, like a Java type thing, and the game, I think it was called Speeding Wheels. And immediately when you open the game, the menu gives you two options for cars: a Ferrari F50 and a Gen 2 Dodge Viper.
Okay.
And so I turned around in the chair, because back then I don't think I had my own computer, so it was down on the office computer, that my mom occasionally used. And so I turned around, looked at my dad, and be like, "Hey, what's a Ferrari F50?" He was like, "I don't know." So at that moment, I was like, "Okay, so I've got to make a decision. Well, I think the F50 is ugly, so I'm just going to go for the Viper instead."
Okay.
And then that's what kicked it off at that moment. Because I was, unfortunately, as a kid, I was a bad winner type. So when I chose the Viper and then won a bunch of races versus the AI, yeah, exactly, that's the game.
Okay. Okay.
So when I won a bunch of games versus the AI, I was like, "Oh wow, this is great. It must be the car." And so then at some point, I think in the same year, I had looked up Dodge Viper into Google. And then everything's a haze. I don't remember much specifically after that.
You entered a fugue state, your eyes rolled back in your head, and now you have the world like equivalent of Dodge Viper knowledge, like just instantly at your disposal.
Oh yeah. And I think that time would have been like 2008, I think. So it was a bunch of Gen 4 press photos all over Google at the time. Because I got into it before they closed production back in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember that news actually. It's funny. I have an image from my Nintendo DS. It's a really funny image, but it says 2010 ACRX that my sister had done, because I was sad the Viper was dying, because you were young, your favorite car is dying. It's like,
sure.
But yeah, so I think that was like 2008. That was a long time ago. But yeah, that's the game, and then there were a few other browser games. One of them was like a Viper parking game, which was really weird. But they had the Oreca livery, where it's the white and the red and the blue. God, that's gorgeous. Great livery. But
so in case anyone hasn't noticed, Cody is a Viper expert, like Viper obsessed,
enthusiast, right?
Viper expert, Viper enthusiast,
Viperholic, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So is it just that it was like that was your initial hook into sort of like enthusiast cars, and
Yeah.
And so it was just been a through line since then, or since you've learned more about cars and you've been exposed to more cars, you're still
stuff?
all Team Viper?
It's funny. I am still all Team Viper, and I find that pretty surprising considering when you're that young, it's like a godly figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you don't.
Right.
It's like Superman. It's Spider-Man.
Mythical, right?
It's mythical. Yes, exactly. And so as you get older, I love this line from Regular Car Reviews when he did the Viper review. He was like, everyone needs their own Messiah, but eventually he's getting older, and how you deal with that is a sign of maturity. And for me, it hasn't been this like declining passion over time. Honestly, it's gotten worse over time as I learn more and more and more and more about it.
Like the polish is not wearing off.
Yeah, really, no, because the more I learn about it, the more I appreciate. And it's gonna sound weird because it's a Viper, but the more I appreciate the engineering behind it, specifically because of how simple it is and how much they accomplished. Because Chrysler was on a shoestring budget. The hubs originally came from a Dodge Dakota. That's why I had the 6 lugs. The original architecture. In fact, the architecture for the V10 is roughly the same architecture as the old Chrysler LA V8. And that goes all the way back to the firepower V8 of the 50s. So it's a very, despite being modified, it is a very old engine design. Still, it has a steel chassis and all the rest of it, but despite steel chassis and all the other disadvantages, 7 minute, 12-second lap time at the Nürburgring, 13 track records in the case of the Gen 5 ACR. So despite all of those disadvantages, all of those hurdles, Chrysler did manage to produce a fairly high performance sports car that could compete. I mean, there was a magazine that Motor Trend, or in a magazine, a Motor Trend issue that Motor Trend put out back when the TA came out for the Gen 5. And in that piece where they broke the Laguna Seca lap record, they threw some racing slicks on the Gen 5 TA for fun. It did a 1 minute 30-second lap dead. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, a McLaren P1, also driven by Randy Pobst, did a 1 minute 30-ish second lap time as well. 903 horsepower, just over 3,000 pounds, carbon fiber monocoque, all the rest of it. And yet a lowly Viper TA on slicks, that's a quarter of the price, is as fast around. I mean, in the hands of Randy Pobst, but is as fast as a P1 around Laguna Seca.
Not bad for essentially farm equipment.
Yeah, not bad for a car that uses technology that's, 6 decades old now? Like, that's...
Right.
I find that very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Personally.
There's a lot of reasons to love the Viper, right? Like, the kind of like the Kingslayer mentality of just being so humble. Yeah.
Well, and you picked a good thing to latch onto as well, in that it's gone now. And so it's always going to be frozen in this moment of time. It's not like, someone who is a huge Nissan Maxima enthusiast and has to watch it slow slide into rental car,
Now that you mention that, though, Ian, Cody, are you afraid that Dodge is going to bring back the Viper like Mitsubishi brought back the Eclipse name? Is
or
this
Ford with the Mustang? I mean,
is this a fear you
the
have?
Next generation will probably be an EV, right?
Yeah. So yes and no. It's funny. It's so funny because I did an article about that on Cody's Car Conundrum on the website about a story I read on Allpar, which is like an all Mopar website. That's what it stands for. And I get somehow the guy behind the website got a hold of one of Chrysler's engineers, Dave Sheaves. I can't remember his first name. And he had a proposal for a Gen 5 Viper that was going to be a hybrid back in 2010.
Okay.
So it was going to, I say hybrid, it was going to be KERS. So like the Ferrari LaFerrari, it was going to be a KERS hybrid system. And in that article, I basically make the case that as much as I'd love to see one more Gen 6, like that Car and Driver one in the bottom left corner there, where it's an evolution of the Gen 5 strategy, because I do think you could have one more generation of Viper that uses the old strategy and is as fast as, say, a C8 or any of the modern cars, because look at how fast the Gen 5 ACR was when the 720 came out. Look at how fast it was when the GT2 came out. So I do think there's still life to be had out of the old formula. I mean, hell, race cars are still stupidly fast compared to production cars. But I do think it is going to be about time that the Viper is going to have to move on to something else, especially from a profitability standpoint. So that's obviously going to mean automatic, which honestly I really don't care about. We've had so many years of non-automatic or only manual Vipers that as long as a manual is an option, I really don't care. It doesn't matter. But yeah, and in that article, I had also, let's see, what did I also said that I would be interested in a hybridized, a tech version Viper, like a Dodge Stealth Viper, because that's an interesting concept. What would a Viper be like if it was teched out the wazoo like a Nissan GTR? I like the idea. I'd love to see Dodge do it. I just wouldn't want to see Dodge do it in replacement of everything else. But they probably will go that route.
Would it still be a Viper, though? Like, isn't the whole point of the Viper that it is sort of a knuckle dragger?
Yeah.
Thing,
so
right?
I never got around to doing the article, but I was going to do an article purely about the V10 aspect of it. And basically, I came to the conclusion that you could have a Viper without the V10 if it was still hand-built, had the same attitude, had the same design. Because then the V10 is a huge part of the car, so obviously something would be missing. But as long as it followed every other Viper hallmark, it would
like kind of spirit.
Yeah, exactly. It would still ultimately be a Viper. But you can't do a mass-produced V10 Viper because you can't mass-produce a V10, because where are you going to put a V10? Like, Are you going to put it in a truck? Well, you have the Hellcats for that now. Are you going to put it in a Charger? Well, you have the Hellcats for that now. So
Right.
It doesn't really make sense from that end. And on the technology front, yeah, it really wouldn't be a Viper because it's meant to be, because the Viper, as potentially fanboyish as this is going to sound, the Viper really is Dodge's 911. They've just evolved it over time, same formula, kept everything true. And so if you completely change it, well, then one of the few old school cars in the industry, well, that's going to be gone. And so, no, I really don't think it would be a Viper anymore if it went that route. It'd be cool, just not a Viper. So I wish Dodge would just resurrect the Stealth name and then go that route, because the Stealth was just a 3000 GT, and that had active aero, had rear wheel steering, and all the rest of it. So to me, that's a no-brainer.
And Stealth is a fantastic name for an electric sports car, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be a great pun.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah. So that's what I wish they would do, but they've got a good bit of name recognition with the Viper, even if most people know of it but don't really know it. They know of it though, so there's some name recognition to cash in there.
So kind of given the beginning video game hook of like seeing the Dodge Viper in like a top-down racing game, where we are now with like Forza Horizon 5.
Oh God,
and having like the Dodge Viper options in there. Like how do you feel about that? Like is this like were you like enthused with every kind of advancement? Did you seek out games specifically that you could drive a Viper in, like that kind of stuff? Like, yeah, because there were some clunker racing games. If you needed to get a Viper fix and you wanted to tick them off, there were some good ones, but sometimes, there
were a few bad ones. Honestly, it's funny because in Horizon 4, I had 50 Vipers in my garage, and I only ever drove Vipers except for the few occasions. I basically daily drove a Viper in Horizon 4.
I get it. Yeah, like Gran Turismo eventually turns into a Lotus Exige on the Nürburgring simulator for me, and then the rest of the game is essentially pointless. So
exactly.
I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. As a kid, I definitely seeked out games that had Vipers specifically. There were games I didn't get because they didn't have any Mopars. Because I've said to people, a few people, I'm a Viper guy first, Mopar guy, then every other car after that.
Okay.
So if it had a Viper, I wanted it. If it didn't have a Viper, if it at least had a Mopar, I'd get it. If it had neither, I probably wouldn't get it. Didn't care enough.
Okay.
And so, but what's funny is one of the games that I got that I actually very rarely drove Mopars in was a simulator called Race 07 made by Simbin back in early 2000s. That was basically a game that had a bunch of WTCC cars. So like British touring cars, but whatever the W stands for. Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they had there used to be an online server. There used to be two. It was PB, what was it? PB Fanatic and it wasn't No Grip Racing. It was 101 something. And the cars you drove there, you could drive a Vauxhall Astra race car, the BMW 3 Series you see on the cover. They generally ran. Yeah, a Radical. Though they didn't really have that in the server, but you had Radicals, Caterhams. You could get, and I did have it, you could get Race On. There it is, Race On. And you could get race spec Challengers and Chargers.
Okay.
It was so cool, like GT4 style. But yeah, they never really had servers for that, not populated anyway. So I always stuck to there you go. You have the Chevrolet, the Lassetti. They had a Lassetti race car, a 156 race car, an Alfa Romeo 156 race car.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The racing was great. My computer was crap. I had a laptop, so I had to run it. It's a game from 2005, and I had to run it on the lowest settings. And the laptop was from 2011. But it wasn't the gaming.
And the fans just going. Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Getting so hot. Screen.
Sure.
I did keyboard and mouse on that simulator for a long time.
Sure.
I wasn't great, but I wasn't terrible. But, yeah. So that was one of the few games I had gotten that didn't have a large amount of Mopars in it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the hell out of that game. I loved it.
Yeah. So how often are you playing games nowadays? Like, is it typically a daily thing, a few hours a week? Like, how often can people find you on Forza, stuff like that?
Honestly, it really depends, because with Forza, I record that. So I try to restrict what I do on Forza to when I'm recording.
Okay.
So for the most part, I'm actually not playing Forza. Most of the car games I play off screen, if you will, is going to be Rocket League. I love and hate that game so much.
Yeah. As you've seen, Ian and I are very bad at it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Assetto Corsa.
Of course.
That is the racing sim to have for me. Let's see. I did play Need for Speed Heat every now and then. That's a good game. It's just not much replayability value for me. Let's see. What other games do I have on my Steam? Maybe Car
Mechanic Simulator. Yeah,
Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. That one I've done a little bit in the sandbox.
Okay.
That game's so much fun.
Okay.
A lot of fun. Yeah. So honestly, most of the games I play off camera aren't car games outside of Rocket League.
Okay.
Most of the time I'm playing Destiny 2. I've been playing a lot of that recently. Love that game. Paladins, which is like Overwatch but free. Similar love-hate relationship with that as I have with Rocket League. A indie game called Risk of Rain 2.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Risk of Rain, yeah.
Yeah, God, I love that game so much. It's just a beat 'em up. You just go around boofling enemies from map to map to map to map. Honestly, that's all I really care about, is just going ham on enemies. Like when I got Destiny 2, I didn't even bother with any of the campaign stuff. All I did was I just did the strikes, which are just short missions, just because I wanted to have fun there and didn't really care about the campaign. So a lot of combat shooter games, except for I don't really play COD or Halo or anything like that, but a lot of your other ones. But
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so a good bit of Forza. Like, okay, what I do in Forza when I'm not recording, what I've been doing is just making a bunch of Viper Strike packages that aren't in the game.
Okay.
All right. So like when the 13, as you can see, actually, if you see the first impressions FH5 video, that strike package where it's like the fangs, that one's not in game. So I had to make that in the decal editor in Forza by hand.
Okay. Gotcha.
Actually, I did it in Horizon 4, but it takes forever. There's a strike package that Dodge did for the Gen 5 for one of the last cars made, and it's an exposed carbon center stripe with white tracer stripes down the middle.
Okay.
I have to find the Instagram post, but it's amazing. It's beautiful. But I wanted to get that shape in Forza, and somewhere I might have it on Instagram. I think I posted it to a story.
Okay.
If I didn't post it anywhere else. But yeah, so that's mostly what I've been doing on Forza, just making a bunch of different stripe packages. But
that's awesome. It's cool that like somebody that has like such insane car knowledge can like be like, oh, here's what you are missing, right? Other fans are gonna want this, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I really need to. I need to add the share code for that so other people can have it. Here's the link to it. It's the first image.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That's the code I'm talking about. Just so we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
That's the Stripe package I recreated.
Yeah, and if you have share codes and stuff like that, we can drop them in the notes for the show for sure.
Yeah, I need to get some of the other ones done because I don't have. I've only got one. I've only got one open right now, or one available, and I've got the image. Someone I know from the Viper Days reunion wanted a new livery for a backup Viper competition coupe that they had bought as a backup race car. And so I had made a livery in Horizon 5 based off a different one I had made from the prior Horizon game, just for fun. It's like, oh, well, this would be cool.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's the Stripe I recreated.
That looks awesome. Yeah.
It's incredible. Getting it to go around the Nakaduck, though, where it tapers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So let's go from, having Vipers accessible to you in video games to having Vipers accessible to you in real life. When was the first time you were around a Viper? Have you ridden a Viper? Or have you driven a Viper? Kind of give us take us into meat space, Cody.
Yeah. The last one, I wish.
Okay. Okay. So, I've driven one. But yeah.
I hate you.
No. Yeah, it was terrifying. I'll tell you that.
I can imagine.
Yeah. But yeah, no, let's talk about
Yeah. So, oh God. First time I saw a Viper, there's been a handful of instances over the years. I mean, there's probably like 32,000 when I first saw them, but there's only 31,000 in existence that, are still on the road, like not crashed.
Right.
So they're ridiculously rare. So I think one of the first times I can absolutely recall seeing one was actually when my mom had this old job. So have you ever heard of Judge Mathis or any of those court shows?
Yeah.
So they used to have people that would go to courts and find cases that they would then bring on the show. And that's what my mom used to do. And so one of the courthouses we used to go to was up in Jefferson by Golden.
So like something that would have like a good story to it would like make for good TV. Okay.
Exactly.
Your mom would find those cases.
Oh yeah, because they're public record. So you can absolutely just go to a courthouse, be like, hey, I want A, B, C, and D, and then
just on CaseNet looking for weird stuff. That's a brilliant idea. Okay.
Yeah, it was great for a long time. It unfortunately kind of dried up in the latter half, but initially she'd get like 60 cases at one of the courthouses.
Oh wow!
60.
Okay.
It was like 2 hours sitting there. So I was like, as an 8-year-old, you're sitting there for 2 hours, bored out of your mind.
Right.
But these days, I can appreciate that. It's like 60 cases.
Yeah.
That's an entire season.
Right.
But yeah, so
half
on the way
of
to
syndication.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
Really. But on the way to Jefferson, there's a motel, and someone there had a Gen 1 RT10.
I want to know the story of a Viper at a motel. That sounds yeah. I can smell cigarette ash and just like divorce papers.
I think you know the story already.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it was an employee because they were there frequently, like very frequently. And so each time going up to Jefferson, I would just look out the window like, please let it be there. Please let it be there. That was the highlight of the entire trip. Yep. And so then as a kid, a few times at Arapahoe Community College when they had the concours, one Viper owner, I think he had a Gen 5 launch edition at the time. He asked all the kids around me, does anyone like Vipers? Some of them just left, but I was like, I do. And he gave me a little Hot Wheels, a blue RT10 Hot Wheels. And I still have it on
That's awesome.
Back there. Yeah, that thing, what was that, like 2014? That's a long time ago.
And this is a callback as to why your mom was telling you to wear something other than blue, right?
Probably, yeah. So you can see the blue auto art there, the big 18 scale one. There's a blue 1/24th scale Maisto that's hiding in the shadow. I've got a lot of. Oh, I just got this one for Christmas. This Hot Wheels Factory Fresh Gen 5, and I wanted it because they had a red one. I was like, okay. Great, but I have to have a blue one because blue.
Sure.
But yeah, actually, because there's 3 Hot Wheels over there, and then you have this red one sitting below the monitor. Like,
I love that you're just like pulling Vipers out like a freaking magician and rabbits.
It's like, it's like the scene in the movie where you go to like the hitman's house and he's pulling knives and guns from everywhere.
Just Viper.
It's like when someone opens their trench coat and it's like, which one do you want?
Right.
Actually, let's see. Closet. Where are you? Oh, did I move it all out? I think I moved it all out. So I had made a Gen 5 ACR Lego wing, like the Extreme Aero Package wing.
Oh, cool.
In Lego. And actually, it has the dual elements and all of that.
Okay.
Closet, but I think I moved it out, unfortunately.
So what was your first Viper event or like kind of Viper-centric event?
Yeah, so that was 2018 High Plains. The Colorado Viper group, it said on their website that they were going to a track day out in High Plains. I don't remember when it was. Was it that? No, it wasn't that. Well, okay, yes, that wasn't the first time I had seen a Viper at High Plains, but it was the first Viper-centric event. That was at High Plains, Colorado Viper group, and there were 4 Vipers there, which is a lot for Viper numbers, especially in Colorado. A Viper ACR TA, which is a special edition. So it's a Viper TA that has the ACR arrow, but the TA breaks, and the TA orange. There was a proper TA. There was a 13 or 14 GTS, red GTS with silver dual racing stripes, and there was a blue Gen 2 that had the Gen 5 Sidewinder 2 wheels on them because they have the same six lug nut pattern. So you can take new Viper wheels and put them on old Vipers, which is amazing. Yeah, that was the first Viper-centric event, and I think I had met Robert. I can't remember his last name, but I met a guy called Robert. I think he was relatively prominent in the Colorado Viper Club.
Okay.
And a few other Vipers. Yeah. And I rode with him actually in his, because Robert had the Gen 5 GTS with the advanced aero package. So it's got the TA dual fang splitters and the spoiler. The spoiler. I'd ridden with him in that car. That was not the first time I rode in a Viper, though. The first time I rode in a...
But you rode at High Plains in a Viper.
First time on a racetrack riding in a Viper. Okay.
So for anyone for people who don't know, High Plains is not, I mean, it's not like a super well-known track because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere in Denver and it's fairly new, but it is not a slow track.
No, it's
I'm guessing in a Viper, that main straight, you're doing 150 before you hit the brakes, probably?
Not in an ACR. No, in an ACR, you're getting up to like 130. Okay. Because of all the drag. There was a
oh, right. The arrow.
Yeah, there was a 911 turbo next to us, and it was out pulling us down the straight.
Oh, I bet.
Fairly considerably. And I think in the GTS, we got up to maybe 140.
I mean, it's still crazy fast.
Yes.
Way faster than I'd ever been, I can tell you that.
Right.
Much.
Yeah. For context, when I hit the brakes in my car on at 105 if I'm doing well.
Yeah. I could maybe get the Vigging close to 110.
Yeah.
That was about it. Yeah.
See, that's still scary because when you're getting up to that right-hander, it's so tight after that long straight. That's a big braking zone.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying. But I think the first time I rode in a Viper ACR and then the GTS, that right-hand corner before you get to the straight, I think they let off a little. So I'm pretty sure, at least in the GTS, you could get up to 145 if you're flat out on that corner. Because
that's so fast.
It's so fast. And obviously, I wasn't driving, so...
Yeah, if you don't have a 15-year-old doing a ride-along with you that you don't want to kill, you're probably you're not probably driving at 10/10ths.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Really. Well, and it's funny because the first time I rode in a Viper because I was at a Wounded Warriors track day. I think it was an Ignite track day. Some company called Ignite Performance. They've got a bunch of modified Dawson 240Zs and other race cars. It was an event for them. It was a customer appreciation day, I think. And one of the guys had a Viper ACR, a Gen 5 ACR in gray, a dark gray. And that was the first time I had ridden in a Viper.
What did you think? Yeah, what did you think? Give us all the feels. Give us the emotions.
So,
I rode in a Viper. That's it. No, we need more.
Well, I got hella motion sick.
Okay.
Because as you know, I tend to get very motion sick even just from the karting.
Do you really? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, Well, I thought it was going to be, I thought it wasn't going to be bad when I went karting with you guys, and then multiple times after, no, I still get sick. I think I just, my brain can't handle the G-forces, and it sucks. So even when I'm driving, and also I'm small and I'm light, so I get bounced around all the time in a car. And when because I'm maybe 5'4" and a half, when I'm sitting in a Viper in a normal seating position, I can see out, but I can't see the hood at all. So I'm kind of looking up all the time.
Yeah, that's disorienting. I can see that. Okay. Gotcha.
I feel your pain on that one, because I have that situation in race cars where I can see the dash and nothing else.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. Like, because it makes it, especially when you're driving, it's hard to place the car.
Yeah.
You know.
See, that's what. Side note: this is what pissed me off when I was learning to drive. 2019, when I got my learner's permit, because my mom sits super low and she's shorter than me. She's maybe 5'3". She sits. I can't imagine what it's like for her. She can maybe see just over the steering wheel, like just, but only to the point where you can see the top of the dash, so you can't see the hood. And so she's like, so when I'm trying to turn into a parking space, trying not to curb a wheel, like going into King Supers out here because the curb starts a little bit early. And she's like, well, why are you turning so late? Why are you blah, blah? It's like, because your seat is so low, I actually can't see what I'm doing. Like, I can't see what the hell I'm doing.
This is the podcast where we're finally taking down Cody's mom. Like, it's been a long time coming. No.
She's had it too good for too long.
No. So I mean, like, so after you rode the Viper, besides the motion sickness, how did you feel? They say don't meet your heroes, but...
Yeah, and that was absolutely in my mind. And the only thing that was of slight disappointment was I felt like it was a little bit underpowered compared to what I was expecting it to be. But then again, we're at elevation and the drag. So I was like, well, it's probably just down to that. So
right. But
the turn-in is telepathic. It's stupidly fast. It's a thought and you're there. I've called it preemptive because it's almost like you're turning before you think you're turning. It's ridiculously fast. It's stupid fast. The brakes were so good. Did they No, I don't think the brakes were so good they quelled my motion sickness. There was one corner on the bottom half where you go on that long right-hand sweeper uphill.
Yeah.
There was so much
drifter, that's called, yeah.
Yeah, the drifter. The car was so planted and it was pulling so many G's. It was actually helping my motion sickness. Not enough to stop me from feeling sick, but enough to ease it.
Your eyes and what you were feeling finally matched up for a minute.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, if I really, really thought about it.
Okay.
So
okay.
What's interesting though is that and I've said this before, Vipers aren't that loud. They're actually not that loud. Not like C7 Z06s or ZR1s are. Those are really loud. Like with the ZR1, I want to cover my ears to protect my ears. With a Viper, I can listen to that go by just fine.
Well, and it's a weird thing too, where like when the Viper came out, it was this like crazy, like unhinged thing with side pipes and 400 horsepower, and oh my god, this thing's a monster. But like the rest of the world is sort of caught up to it now, and like a Hellcat, you can get a 4-door sedan Hellcat that's 700 plus horsepower,
650 pound-feet of torque,
and crazy loud. Those things are stupid loud.
Right. They're like designed, like that's designed into it now, right? Where like the Viper sound just happened to be the Viper sound because that's the sound it made. They weren't like, oh, we want it to make this sound. No, it was just the thing that comes out of the pipes is just what it is, right?
Yeah.
Right. They weren't engineering extra obnoxiousness into it because it was already so crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that.
Exactly. The only way to make it louder would be to take the mufflers off, but it was stock. Like at the Viper Days reunion, there were a few Vipers that were so loud it hurt. But most standard ones, no. And honestly, that's a blessing because I'm going to show my age here, but there was a trend on TikTok, and it was like, what's something you should like but don't? And for me, it's obnoxiously loud cars. I don't like having to cover my ears every time a car comes around. That's a nuisance. And there was one car that was like that back at an SCCA race where David Muramoto was racing, actually, back in 2018, I think it was. All the 350Zs are stupid loud. One of them was so loud, it was like a mini sonic boom as the guy got on the throttle at the at turn 2, that long right-hander.
And there's like a weird resonance to like that V6 too, right? Like, I like it in stock form, and that's it. Like, yeah.
So loud.
Though that one for me is always at like Lemons races and stuff are the RX-7s, the Rotaries. With if they're like straight piped, they are unfucking bearable. They're so loud, and it's like a dentist drill. Like, so high pitched.
Yeah, Peter and I took his Volvo C30 out one time without the resonator or muffler, and then, like that 5-cylinder was just. We were like, if we're doing this, it's not fun. We're going back to the garage. Like, yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah.
But so the other event that you went to that I'm excited to ask you about too is, and you just mentioned it, the thing at Road America. Because that's one of my favorite places.
Yeah, we've been to Road America. Ian's driven it. Yeah, I've crewed at a race there. Yeah. So what did you do at Road America?
So Road America. So unfortunately, I didn't drive. I did get to ride actually in a TRX though on Road America. It was insane.
Wait, I'm sorry. A Ram TRX?
Yeah, a 1500 TRX.
Why?
Okay, because so you know who Ralph Gilles is, right? The North America. Okay, so his brother had actually come down because they hadn't seen each other in like 2 years, and he brought a TRX.
Oh, interesting.
And so in between one of the races, they had a parade lap where all the Vipers could go around and drive Road America, the non-race ones, the street ones. And as part of that, some non-Vipers could show up as well. And so Doris Gilles, Ralph's wife, had a Jeep Grand Wagoneer that they had road tripped that entire week. I'd been, not to sound stalkerish, but I had seen it on Instagram that entire week. That was there. That was on Road America too. And then Max Gilles had a 1500 TRX. And so I was trying to find someone that would let me ride in a Viper for the parade laps. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to find someone I can hitch a ride with. And Max was like, hey, yo, do you want to ride? And I'm like, it's not a Viper, but screw it. I don't have time to waste here. So I got in with him, and oh my God, it's so big. The interior is a fishbowl. Not in terms of like greenhouse and all that, just the size is so massive. There was a full foot between, at least a foot between me and the guy sitting next to me in the rear passenger seats. But I have to say, despite that thing being heavy, it's fast. It really does move.
Was it were they doing like a flying lap, or was it like, we're going to putt around at like 80% throttle sort of thing?
Yeah, well, for the most part, it was that. But the driver of the TRX did do a few full throttle pulls every now and then. It wasn't like 10/10ths, but we got a few full throttle pulls, especially up the hill on the front straight.
Yeah, because I mean, it's fast. Road America is a fast track.
It's insane. There's so many there's like 1 mile straights in between all the corners. So for those who don't know, Road America is like a 4-mile track. And to put that into perspective, Road America's infield is so big, Road America charges for golf carts just to get around the place. That's how big it is. Like at High Plains, I just run. I just jog. That's how I get.
High Plains is 2 miles, something like that, a little over 2.
Yeah, like 2.3, 2.4, somewhere in there.
So I mean, like almost twice as big. Yeah.
Yeah, but the infield it's got to be much smaller than Road America.
Right.
The track's like a quarter of the size. Yeah. Road America, huge. But yeah, the TRX was.
That's quite a way to experience Road America in a TRX.
Honestly.
Yeah, that's a bizarre. Ride along for Road America.
I went to Wisconsin and I got a hot lap in a TRX on a T-shirt. Right?
Really? Yeah. The guy who drove was like a driving instructor for Road America, I think. So he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a ride along in a Viper at Road America would be frightening.
That's the only way that experience could have been better. Honestly, I would have loved that. I think on what was it? Wednesday, the day before I arrived, because I arrived on Thursday. They were actually allowing ride-alongs in the Vipers, but I didn't make it for that. But yeah, so you'd asked what I was doing at Road America for the VDR. I just wanted to go.
Sure. Yeah.
That was pretty much it, because I had seen, I think it was in February, because the Viper Owners Association, the VOA, I frequent that website every day. I check it every day to see what the updates are, just cause. Yeah. Oh, hey, there's my photo at the, what's that one for? Oh, that's Viper Alley. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
That's one of mine. Yeah, that blue GTS.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see where. Oh, yeah. So I saw it on the VOA, and I was like, "Oh, wow, this is a historic event, and like this would be cool." And so I took up a side hustle sometime last year to pay for the going tickets to Road America, which it did pay it paid it well enough for me to make it. I hated doing it just due to my introverted nervousness, but yeah, I just went because I remember I went because I saw on the website, I think, because they had a ViperDaysReunion.com website. They had a banquet for Saturday, and they were going to show a Viper that had never been seen before, and they were going to have a panel with some of the Viper engineers. And as someone that just lives for Viper information, that's honestly what I love the most. I was like, I've got to go to that panel and see what car they're unveiling. I have no idea.
And it was a Fiat 500 Abarth with a Viper engine. No, what was it? What'd they unveil?
So, in the vaguest terms possible, it was basically an early proposal.
Why are we being vague about it?
Well, I'm not entirely sure if I have the complete authority to say it.
Oh, is this like a secret thing?
It might be.
Okay.
But basically, yeah. It was a really early proposal for a Viper ACR.
Oh, okay.
Gen 2 days. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. So, you know, like the 911, what was it? The club racer they had in Europe where it was not street legal of the, 993 generation? No, 987 generation. And it was one at High Plains a while ago. It was a non-street legal club racer. It was basically like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super, super cool. But yeah, that's what that banquet was for. Actually, I asked because what was funny is I got to meet a lot of Viper people during that whole event. And the guy who had known that story for a while, because he had talked with the Viper engineers and some Viper people for years, I had asked him, because he had said at the time, hey, so if any of you want this PDF of this, email me. So I did eventually ask him, like, hey, can you send me the PDF because I'd like to read it.
Okay.
So I do actually have that PDF somewhere. I still need to read it. But
right.
Yeah, yep.
So let's mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
We have an FMK Cars for you.
Right.
Okay. FMK Cars is the game that we play on the show. You're familiar with it. Everybody's familiar with it. Ian has prepared this one just for you, Cody.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So these are cars that are sort of like in the same sort of like Viper wheelhouse. These are not Viper. So this one's called My Sports Car Ate Your House Pet. Cars named after predators. No, not that one. So these are cars named after predators that are not the Viper.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you the three cars, and then after we talk about the cars really quick, I'm going to tell you what the twist is. So there's going to be a twist with this one that you're going to have a task that you're going to have to do with each of these cars. And I'll give that to you after I give you the cars.
Lovely. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
So these are all going to be kind of like old school muscle cars that sort of inspired the Viper formula.
Hell yeah.
All right. So the first one, Shelby Cobra.
Yeah.
Another snake. We're going to go with the 1962 Mark I. So it'll be the narrow.
Lovely. Yeah. The 289 V8.
Yes. The narrow body. We're not going to go crazy wide body or any of that. No 427 for you.
Yep. Well, that's fine.
Keep it simple.
Yep.
All right. Next, De Tommaso Pantera, which is Italian for panther.
Yep. Okay.
All right. You can do whatever year of this you want. I think they're all.
Remember, there was a time these were going for like 25 grand.
I know. You could buy them for nothing.
No, like not that long ago. Like I could have bought a
3 years ago.
Tommaso Pantera.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There was one at the parking garage a few years ago where I work. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think I sent you a picture of it. It was that beautiful like forest green.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it turns out like, if you give me a time machine, I'm not going to do all the things you should do with a time machine. I'm just going to go buy a Tommaso Pantera.
Right.
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago.
So pretty.
Yeah.
All right. And then your last one, this is going to be kind of hyper specific. So 1973, we're going to go Australian Ford Falcon.
Okay.
And it's going to be the XB-GT. So
There we
put
go.
that in there.
Okay. Falcon. All right.
All right. So what are your thoughts on these on the cars? Just the cars alone, what would you do?
So honestly, I am not upset about the 289 Cobra because last year for Viper Week, I went to get photos for Instagram and I saw a 289 narrow body Cobra in the flesh. And that is one of the sexiest sports cars I have ever seen. Just so...
It looks perfect. It looks perfect.
It really is.
It's pretty, you know.
It's tasteful.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm not at all displeased with that. I don't have any strong feelings towards a Pantera. No strong positive nor negative. And then the XB Falcon, I don't really have any strong feelings to that either, but I do like it. Especially what I really like is a lot of Australia's muscle cars, things like the VH Valiant Charger with the Hemi Straight 6, and the Falcon is kind of like that, just wider.
Yeah. I didn't even think about this. I gave you all Ford engine cars.
Yeah.
Every single one is a Ford engine. Whoops.
Yeah. Oh well, deal with it. Yeah. So what do you think you would do, or are you going to unveil the twist yet? Yeah.
Here's what the twist is. So these are all named after animals. After every time you get out of one of these cars, you have to do a very loud, very public impersonation of this animal before you can go about your business. So
Okay.
we can maybe we could give it a little sample. Get a little sample. Give me a falcon call. Falcon screech.
Let me lubricate my throat for a second.
I was like, when you reach for something, I thought you were going to pull out a Falcon. Like you've been pulling out Vipers. Oh, like here, let me bring buttons onto the.
Yeah.
See,
There we go.
dignified. So I mean, that's not that big of a deal if you're like going to the grocery store, but you know,
Yeah. All you have
going
to
up
do is
to a
stuff
funeral,
yourself.
that might be awkward.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to marry the Cobra.
Okay.
I'm going to F the Falcon. I'm going to kill the Pantera, sadly.
Wow. Okay.
And but the Cobra, what are you going to do? Like, it's just a hiss. So,
That's true.
that one's not so bad, honestly. The
Somebody
Falcon,
might think they have a leaky tire or something.
Right.
yeah. Just roll down your window, look to someone next to you, and just hiss really loudly. Just like, your tire. Just play it off. Totally cool.
I'm firmly of the mindset that there's not enough booing happening just in general life. Like if I see a driver that I don't like doing something just in my car, they can't hear me. I just go, boo. A hiss is right there. That's fine too, right?
Yeah.
I boo on conference calls.
Boo.
See, I got to stop myself when FCA or Honda, when they get their press meetings and someone does or says something funny, I really have to stop myself from cracking up because I don't want them to see me and then think that it's me laughing at them. But like, no, it's not you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how you don't get invited back to press events. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Ian, what do you think you would do in this situation? You put this together.
I think I'd marry that Pantera, man.
I want to hear your Pantera noise.
I don't know. I'd make it turn sexy cat. I don't know what I would do.
Oh God, sexy cat. Oh my God. Don't mind me.
I just start licking myself. Wait.
Thank you for the nightmares, Ian. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
I have a lot of power. You gotta maintain it somehow.
I would marry the Pantera as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good job
think you're
giving the
gonna get away?
Mopar guy a bunch of Ford engine cars, Ian.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. You think you're gonna get away without doing the Pantera noise?
That's
beautiful.
The best I got. The best I got. Oh,
I'm just thinking of a growl.
Dave, what do you say? I think we should let's play a license plate game.
I love that our podcast is finally, after 320 something episodes, finally devolved to just animal noises.
I'm amazed it took us this long to get
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank
See,
you,
I can make
Cody.
it worse. I can do a Mickey Mouse impression.
Well, we have to.
Square up, Goofy.
No, I'm worried. I'm worried about Disney. We have to say that is a generic mouse character.
Oh yeah. Sorry, generic mouse character.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, Ian. We will play a license plate game. So, Cody, we're going to give you. One of our things is these maniacs out there that run around getting vanity license plates, right?
Yep.
So we're going to give you 3, and we're going to see if you can match the plate up to the car. Let me pull up. This is in the Ian Don't Look folder. Okay, here we go. So this one's just called Lame. All right.
Okay.
While you take this in, I'm going to narrate. Ian and I will narrate what we see here. Ian, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it looks like we've got a Maserati giblets, a Ghibli, or is that a Quattroporte?
I think it's a Ghibli.
Maserati giblets, black. We've got a blue Alfa Romeo Stelvio. It is, I don't believe, a Quadrifoglio. And then we've got a Maserati Levante.
Also
maybe
in blue.
Perhaps driven by Joe Manchin.
Yeah. Poorly. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And the plates that Cody has to match up here. First plate is Foxy Roxy. FXY Roxy. Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Another plate is Goals. GOALZ. All right. And then another one is I Earned It. The number 1 ERNDIT.
Well, that's what that says. Gotcha.
I Earned It.
Yeah.
So this. Oh yeah, go ahead, Ian. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, rules of the game are simple. You match the text of the plate with the car. So you want to use the context clues. You want to get into the mindset of a person who would walk into a building uninvited and put down the money that they earned on a Maserati Levante.
Yep.
So we can do a little zooming in here for you to kind of give you a little extra clue. So
okay,
and walk us through through the
What
things
you
that you
see.
notice, context clues. I noticed. One of the cars has their sunroof open. That might mean something. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's perfect. So if we go with the Gibble there, I think it is a Gibble. The trunk shape. I think it's mostly the same to the Quattroporte, but it looks small. It looks a little too small to be a Quattroporte. Yeah. Now, so Goals, that's the one I'm focused on right now. That to me has to be a Maserati, one way or another. That's
okay.
Because Maserati is sort of like the Italian Jag. It's aspirational, right? It's something you look forward to. It's a Beamer. So I think with Goals, it's gonna be the Gibble or the Levante.
Okay. All right. So here's the Gibble. There's a few other things. They've got a bedazzled license plate frame.
Yeah, and it says adopt a shelter.
Adopt a shelter pet. Yeah.
Okay. So that one's got to be.
Or just adopt a whole shelter. I mean, if you're feeling generous. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the Levante. Just a standard plate, but a Maserati license plate frame. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
It's from the dealer.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then not much on the Stelvio other than good old Mike Ward, local Alfa Romeo dealer down in Littleton.
Do me a favor, Dave. Can you move over on the Alfa just to the side there? I just wanted to see. It is. Yeah, I don't believe that's a Quadrifoglio.
It is
that's
not.
just like a standard Stelvio.
Yep.
Yeah, the lower rear bumper's all wrong.
Yeah.
And they did pay for the fancy Colorado license plate, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, the nice, colorful one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think the Gibble is going to be Foxy Roxy. Because if it's Foxy anything, and adopt a shelter. I'm not sure that's a coincidence.
Okay. All right.
You either going and adopting foxes at the pound,
or they're just
God
into
knows.
animal names.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I earned it's a little bit difficult because the Maserati. Okay, initially you would think that's a Maserati because Alpha hasn't been here for that long. Maserati's been here for a little bit longer. Maserati is a little bit more aspirational than Alfa Romeo is. Alfa Romeo is more of your lower end Beamer type thing, so it's more enthusiast, whereas Maserati's a little more luxury oriented, comparatively speaking. But Mike Ward license plate outline. That seems incredibly show-offy to me because anyone who knows what Mike Ward is knows the kind of cars that they sell. On that basis,
Boom. We're taking down Cody's mom. We're taking down Mike Ward. Who's next?
And with the sunroof open, clearly they don't care. They live a bit of a frivolous, carefree lifestyle, right?
Okay.
If it wasn't an Alfa Romeo, and if they didn't care about looking like a peasant, they would have a Jeep. Okay. That kind of free-spirited mentality, I think they would be pompous enough to have I earned it. And so I do think ultimately goals still has to go to the Levante.
Okay. All right. Ian, what do you think? Do you have a differing opinion? I'm the one who made the game, so I know the answers.
I think Foxy Roxy belongs to the Stelvio.
Okay.
And I think maybe it's tough. I feel like, I mean, the Levante is the most obnoxious car of the three, correct?
Yeah.
Right. We're all in agreement of that.
Yes.
Even before we found out Joe Manchin drove one, I feel like that we were in agreement that the Levante was obnoxious. But that's it. I think it's goals to the Levante because I think that's what Cody you said too, right?
Yep.
And I think I earned it is the giblets.
Okay. All right. Are you guys ready for the answers?
Let's see.
I'm beside myself.
Boom. Ian, you got Foxy Roxy right. Cody, I'm sorry you struck out, buddy.
Oof.
Yep. It's goals with the bedazzled license plate frame. And honestly, I got to tell you, if those are the goals you're setting, maybe aim higher.
Yeah, really. That's a bit low. Like at least the Quattroporte is still interesting, but the Gibble, like that's a bit low tier.
Right? And I think you guys were right in that, like, you had goals and I earned it, like, kind of in that, like, in that Maserati, like, tier.
Headspace, yeah.
Right? There you go. That's the right way to put it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Roxy. That makes so much sense though, because the Stelvio does seem like an influencer's vehicle. Like just the Instagram model type vehicle. That makes too much sense. But that makes sense.
I like the clarity that comes with seeing the answers of these. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
you're spot
I know
on.
exactly who this person is.
Yeah. I mean, top open, God, it makes so much sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to honk at them at a stoplight because they're going to be texting.
Yes. Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Or like post into their story or whatever. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why this is the best game. This is the best car game on the internet.
Yeah.
Dave invented it.
I was going to try to find some Viper vanity plates for you, but I don't know. I think that there isn't enough context clues with those, Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of them are pretty similar. Snake bit.
Sure.
Some other crap. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You see that with like the Kia Stinger vanity plates now. Yeah. Like the ones that just say like buzz or stung or
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Right. Okay. So kind of to put a bow on it, right? Tell people where they can find you and what they're going to find when they do find you.
Yeah. So my main website where you can find pretty much everything is codyscarconundrum.com. Yep, as you can see right there, that's where you're going to find all my articles. That's where you'll find some podcasts. You'll find a link to the Podbean site, which is where the podcasts get updated way faster. You'll find quizzes on the website. You'll find some products. You'll find pretty much just a lot of stuff there. You can go for the merch, which I think is in the product page somewhere. It's under more.
Gotcha.
It's Cody's Car Conundrums, conundrum plural, .merch.store. And yes, it's very long. I It should have been long. It should have been shorter, but it was the first thing that came to mind.
Sure.
But, yep. There you go. So that's where you can find all the merch. That's where you can find the car guy. That's where you can find this. That's where you can find, let's see, you can find a glass cup. There's one other thing there that I've forgotten about. That I think is under car guy. Yeah, the backpack.
Yeah. And you got some posters. Yeah.
Yep. Those were roads in Colorado. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
For mountain. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep, so that's where you can find that stuff. youtube.com/Cody's Car Conundrum. All the stuff you need is really on the website, Cody'sCarConundrum.com. That's where you really need to go to find all the subgenres of stuff I do.
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. What do you anything, and then last thing, is there anything in this year that you're excited about? Like, hoping to get back to the car show, the press event at the car show and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to do a few more press events. It's honestly, it's really, really early in the year. I haven't finalized much yet. The only thing I'm really planning on doing, the only thing I've finalized this time is Viper Week again, because last year it was supposed to be first week of May, and I decided to do it in earnest in like last week of March. And it took 3 months to complete it, from April to June, because some stuff was late. So I'm going to be starting that earlier to get it done on time.
So what is Viper Week?
So Viper Week is just a content dump for me. So what I do with Viper Week is one article a day for 7 days, one video a day for 7 days, one podcast a day for 7 days, and one photo a day for 7 days. And so like with last year, with the podcast, I read a bunch of interesting Viper articles for the entire week. A few of them were technical. For the video, I cobbled together a Viper conspiracy video for Forza, actually. Super well put together video, I have to say. I'm very proud of that even now. Articles last year for Viper Week, I did an article on what it was like to ride in the Viper, because that was 2018. So I had sat on it for years. Then I did an article on V8 Vipers, because there are some that exist, but they're racing ones over in Europe. Right. Really great story. So this year I got to figure out what the ideas are. But yeah, it's basically just a week-long content dump of nothing but Viper stuff.
Okay. So stay tuned to that. All right.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep, I'll make an announcement when Viper Week's going to be, assuming it's not going to be May again like it is this year. I don't know. There is a Viper event in June, I think, that I'm tempted to do. Because it's only in Nebraska. It's a 5-hour drive. Road trip.
Right.
So,
right.
Nice. I might push Viper Week back so I can have that as a video.
Sure.
In that. So we'll see, though.
Right on.
Well, cool. Well, it was great to finally have you on the show instead of just terrorizing you in the back of a BMW. Let me out, please.
Yeah.
That's how I knew you got motion sick, was from that experience where
oh God, yeah.
we drove
I don't know how I forgot
we drove the BMW.
Oh yeah, that M5, yeah.
And made Cody very motion sick.
Hey, we did not flog it the hardest. You just did a burnout, Ian. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I drove like the old man that I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I still love the way Lauren got the hell on that thing on
yep. I wasn't gonna name a name, but
yeah, I know. Yeah. Yep.
That's a great memory.
So yeah.
Love that day. Great day.
Thank you again, Cody. Everybody go check out all of Cody's hot content.
Buy his merch, man. Cargyle is popping, man.
Cargile's
off the chain.
I really do like that. I like it. I don't like slogans.
Ian's not a slogan guy.
I don't buy a lot of car t-shirts because they usually have slogans on them.
Yeah.
I like that.
A bold print Ian can do.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
Right?
So thank you again, Cody. Everyone go check out his stuff. Dave, what else should people do?
Well, if you see maniacs out there with vanity license plates, you should text them to 720-515-1391. If you see Dodge Viper vanity plates out there, text them to us and we'll have Cody on for just a small special Viper license plate game. Should we get enough of those?
Viper chat.
Yep. All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Cody.
Absolutely.
So much fun.
Thank you, everybody else. We love you. Goodbye.